So this is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to talk about, this is some examples of some infographics that I do, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how I create some of these icons here, and just kind of a workflow. One of the challenges for creating icons for Keynote is that you can't import regular icons into Keynote, any kind of other than raster icons. So if you want something scalable, you can see like these guys right here. If I scale them, they still maintain, they're still very crisp. So if you want something scalable and colorizable, so I can double click on this, it's a group. I can go in here and go into the color and say, okay, I'm going to change that to this color. I can just do something like this. So if you want to be able to do that kind of thing, there's kind of a working process that's kind of a difficult pipeline, but I hope you can follow. Even if you don't make icons for Keynote, this is kind of not a bad workflow for creating icons for anything, for that matter. And I'm using Illustrator to do it. So let's talk about this a little bit. Okay, so let's switch over to Illustrator, and I'm going to talk about, I've got this file here, and I've got an icon that I've already got in here. I'm going to show you how I got that icon, but I'm going to use this to create an icon. It's a small window, not very big. And I'm going to basically jump over here to Google, and I Google presentation icon, and I grab this one right here, but I don't want to use all of that one. I actually like, for the presentation, I think I like these graphics a little more. So I'm going to click on this, right click on this, say copy image, and go back to Illustrator and paste that here. Okay, so once I've got it pasted in Illustrator, I resize it about the size that I want. I know that those graphics are going to have to be somewhere like that in there. And now I'm going to basically set the transparency level. We'll show over here. Click on this, scroll my mouse wheel to make it transparent. Lock it down over here in layers, and then I'll hide it. And this one I'll do the same. Click on here, go to transparency. Let's move this out of the way so you don't see that. Move transparency way down, and then again lock it down. Okay, now hold the Option key, use the mouse button, middle mouse button to zoom in. And there's a couple different ways to do this. If I look at this, this looks like, for the most part, this is symmetrical, vertically symmetrical. So I'm going to actually make half of this, and then I'll mirror it. I could actually make it all at once, but because this is a tutorial, it'd be helpful to understand how to make half of this inside of Illustrator. So let's get started. So first off, I can recognize very quickly this can be just a line box right here. So I'll start off there. I'll pick a box. Oh, actually, first, since we're only going to do half, I'm going to drag this guide out to about the half spot, and I'm going to take a box, and I've got graphic styles over here. And as you create something, anything, you can always go up here and say, okay, I'm going to make this empty, and I'm going to make this, red, and I'm going to use a small, small point size or whatever. So you can do that every single time if you want to. Let's make sure that's right. So let's close that. Okay, so you can do that every time, but it's kind of a pain in the neck, right? So if you do that and you create one that you like, and I like one with a stroke at about 0.25. And I'll drag it over my graphic styles here, and I'll just call it line only. Okay, and delete it, and then, or actually, let's not delete it. Let's make one fill only. So I'll go in here, say this green color, turn off the stroke to 0. Okay, and I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna drag that over here and make it fill only. So now I've got these two done. I'll delete it. So I'm going to go over here again. I'll start over here. I'm going to go to line only. I'm going to start in the middle because I want this to be, I'll show you in a second how I'm going to do that. So here's the middle. So I've got a rectangle I've moved out. Okay. Now I can click on this. This is the A key. It's called the direct selecting key. So I'll use A, and I'll just click on this little dot here. And as you see, as I do this, I'm getting a pretty nice radius right there. So the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take back to the V key, which is the selection tool. And I'll expand this out just a tad, and I'm going to tell you why in just a second. So next, I'm going to do these lines right here, and they're fairly easy. I'll start here, drag one out to about there, and I'll start about here, and I'll drag another one out just right about there. Okay, so now basically we have one more thing to do, and that is we're going to take a line and we're going to drag it out to right about there. So let's go over what we have. We have this first top line, we got this rect, and we have these two lines, this one and this one right on the guide. Okay, so first off, we'll take this line right here. This is the first rect we did, and I'm going to go up under, actually let's click it again, and let's go up under stroke, click the stroke properties, and I'm going to start scrolling this number till I see where it's about right, and that's probably pretty close right there. So I'm going to leave that right there, and that's called 7 points. And when I'm done, I can take that and say Object, Path, Outline Stroke. So there we go, stroke's outlined. Okay, now I'll take this line right here, and I'll go to stroke again. This time I'm going to use the blunt end right here. This is the bullet end, right? And I'm going to drag it up to about there, and I'm done. And then I go to Object, Path, again, Outline Stroke. Okay, good. Now I'll take these two, Shift key, select both of them, and we go to stroke again, and again we'll do the round ends on those. Scroll till they're about right. That looks pretty good. Done. Object, Path, Outline Stroke. Okay, so that's pretty good. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of these, go to my Pathfinder tool, and I'm just going to union them. So now it's one object. So turn it on, turn it off, and now I need to. Now, because of the way these paths line up, I want to make sure that I'm going to get half of it. So I'm going to drag a rectangle off like this, and because it's the top layer, I'll shift that one, shift click both of these, and I'll subtract it. And now I have my mirrorable entity. So with that selected, I'll go over to the mirror tool, or reflect tool, which is the letter O, hold the Option key down, and I click on the guide. Go over here, and I say I can hit the preview to make sure it's what I want, and I hit the copy button. Now I have both. I hit the V key, selection tool, have them both selected. Hit the union tool, and now we have one object, which represents this whole thing. So that's great. So let's go in now, and let's look at what we want to put on there. We want to put this this graphic here. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Since it's centered, we'll put that stuff, yeah, something like right there. That looks quite good. Okay, so you guys have figured out this is going to be ridiculously simple. Oops, wrong one. There we are. Okay, so I'm going to go in here, grab a ellipse tool, start dragging from the middle, then hold the Option key. Okay, and looks pretty good. I'm going to make that line only for now. I'm going to take this and grab, oops, undo, grab the rect tool, it's the N key, and I'll put a line here, and then I'm going to do the same here. And this is kind of cool. So now I'm going to take this, and I want to create an array of these, but one of the easiest ways to do that is with the selection tool, hold the Option key down, drag, and once you get to where you want it, hit Command D, gets the next one. Now the next one's done, I can just take this now and move it down a little bit, turn that off, and now all we need to do is come in here, and I'll take a, I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to say stroke, just Let's give it a little stroke, something like maybe about there. That's probably pretty good. And then object, path, outline stroke. Okay, and now I'm going to paste. Oops, undo. Shift Command paste, or edit, paste in place. Puts it exactly where I want it to be. And we can make that fill only just fine. And then I'm going to come and create a rectangle from the center of that. I have to zoom in to get it right. Oops, undo. Let's do it this way. Draw it up here and get to the center. There we are. Okay, and select these two and subtract them. And then this, and select these two and union those. So, oops, I didn't get it right. Let's get that and that. There you go, union them. There, so there's that. Select these and we use fill, and we'll zoom out, and we'll select all, and we'll fill. So there's part of the icon. So the second part of the icon is the icon part that I want to make white. So now that I have this, I'll take all this, Command C. So I've got it copied. It's in the clipboard, and I'm going to take this rectangle tool, and I'm just going to drag it right around about here. Fill this up completely, and select that and this, and we'll union these. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to make it a mask that sits under this. So let's go to the line only, and let's take these and delete those. Take this line, and I want to offset it. Object, path, path, offset, path, and I'm going to do minus 1 pixels, so you see just a tiny bit, and I'm going to delete the outside one, take this one, and I'll make it fill, and I'm going to give it a color, so I'm going to give it yellow instead of white. White you really can't tell, and then I'm going to say edit, paste in place, because remember what we have on the clipboard, paste in place, boom, there it is, and I select all of these, and it's a very simple thing for me at this point to go to my libraries. I'll Command G, group it, go to my libraries and drop it in here. Okay, I'm also going to copy it. I'm going to actually add a special effect to it. I'm not going to go into that special effect today, but here's where I'm putting them. So I'm going to paste this in here. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to shrink it up a little bit, and a little bit more. There we are. Something like this. And I'm going to add what I call a long shadow effect, and I'll show you. We're going to talk about that a little on a different video, but basically it's one of the graphic styles that I've set up here. So I'll double click inside the group and get into here. I'll hit this long shadow. In this case I'm going to do a long shadow 100. It's going to take a while. Put that little shadow on there. Double click back out. Actually, let's go back in. And select this. You can see that here's the fill. So I want that fill. Now I want that fill to be white. So I'm going to go over here, choose the white fill, and let that set. And here we have it. So now I'll take this, Command C, go back to my original file, V, oops, undo, I got the wrong thing over there. Let's go back here, there, Command C, go back to our original file, where is it, there, Command V. Okay, now we're good. So now I'll do a save as. I'm going to save this as I'm going to call it a test.svg. I'm going to show you what settings I'm using for SVG. Hold on, I'm putting it on my desktop. Notice save. I'm using 1.1. It's important. Don't use 1.2, 1.1 plus. 1.1 is the one you want to use. And you say OK. Now that's done. Now we're going to go, so now we're done in Illustrator. Now the next thing to do is we need to convert this icon from an SVG to something that Keynote will understand. So let's go into Keynote. Let's go into my website. Okay, so this is a terminal. You can launch a terminal anytime you want. And what I have this program called SVG2 Keynote. This program is available, and you can pick it up on the web internet. Just gotta search for it, SVG2 Keynote. Drag and drop that on here. Here's the program, or the file we just saved was called. Here it is over here. Sorry, it's at test SVG. Let's put this over here. I'll take that. And I drag that on here. Now I've got. Here's the program, SVG2 Keynote. Here's the file that we're asking it to convert. I hit return, and voila, it puts this file, test.key. Now the problem is that when I click on this, it can't be opened because it's too old. You have to open it up in Keynote 09. So you have to have an old version of Keynote 09. I was able to go online and find an old version somewhere. So you have to open up Keynote 09 because the new version won't import. We talked about that earlier. So hit this button. We're going to open it up in Keynote 09. And there it is. And all we have to do here is save. Save. And close. And now, this test Keynote, now if I double click on it, it's actually going to open up directly inside of the latest version of Keynote. Now I can double click on this here. Actually, this is not grouped yet, so you can see nothing's grouped. So I can basically go in here and say, let's just make things colorful. I want this gradation. I just need to go to and set a gradient fill. Set it to I think it's 135, and the light color is probably something like white, and the dark color is probably something like that, or maybe a little darker. So, and group that, and oops, group that, wrong group piece yet, and Bob's your uncle. So this thing scales nicely however you want. So anyway, hope that helps. That's the tutorial. Thanks for watching. Bye.